The first thing we need to discuss is the difference between a positive mold and a negative mold. So far, we have mainly been machining only positive shapes, and then casting a rubber compound around them, which becomes our actual mold. The rubber is considered a negative of the part we want. The chocolate part produced then becomes another positive shape. One consideration you need to be aware of is how the milling cutter will go around the corners of your letters. If it cuts on the outside of the letter, it can leave very sharp exterior corners, but inside corners will be left rounded, as seen in this video. One common way to fix this problem is to directly machine the negative mold, as seen here. The insides of the lettering were machined, rather than the outsides, and we won't use a rubber casting compound. The chocolate will be poured directly into this mold. This video details machining inside the lettering. If you do this, the cutter will leave sharp interior shapes, but also leaves rounded exterior corners. You now have nice clean inside corners, but rounded off outside corners. A word of caution: remember to mirror the lettering. If we actually cut this mold, the cast chocolate would be mirrored from what we wanted. This video details the result as we completely machine away the inside of the letters. Compare the two resulting shapes in the exterior and interior corner areas. If we completely machine away the inside of these letters, the result looks quite different from the original geometry. Is this shape acceptable to the designer? Sometimes it's helpful to work backwards through the mold making process in order to determine how you're going to make your mold. If you can determine where you must have sharp corners, it will assist you in deciding which type of mold you are going to build. By considering the final desired output, you can modify your machining strategy. However, there are times in mold making when you simply must drill a square hole. This becomes an interesting challenge. After all, you're using a circular cutter. In manufacturing, one solution to this problem is to literally take a square peg and ram it into a round hole. And to further complicate matters, sometimes the hole doesn't even exist. We use a process known as electrode discharge machining, commonly referred to as EDM. An electrode is cut to the desired shape, then attached to electronics which cause small but powerful sparks to jump from the electrode to the base material. Every place a spark hits, it causes a small crater to form. The dust from the crater is flushed away with the fluid. Repeat the process a few million times, and you achieve a hole in the base material that's the same shape as the electrode. If the electrode has square corners, these are replicated in the hole that is formed. And the interesting thing is, the electrode never touches the base material. It's all done with spark erosion. Because the electrode is made of a soft material, such as graphite, it can easily be machined to have sharp corners, as many as you want. It's really just a variation of our cast mold. If you think of our wax as being the electrode, which eats its way down into the base material, which is like our rubber mold, only it's made out of tool steel, you've got the idea. One last design problem. Chocolate does not like to get into tiny spaces. leaving small, sharp geometry can result in air bubbles being trapped in the corners. Solutions include: you can vigorously vibrate the mold to free the air bubbles, or you can paint the chocolate into the difficult places first, then cast the rest. This adds labor, though. You could overheat the chocolate to make it thinner and preheat the mold, but this adds energy costs. The second design has less areas that air could get trapped, so the solution might be to change the design. But this might not sit well with the designer. Recall that all engineering is a compromise. So, do you change the design to accommodate manufacturing? Or do you change those manufacturing processes to accommodate the designer? And how do you settle this in a professional manner?